Hello, everybody, and welcome to Outside the Box, the podcast devoted to supporting Central PA small business. I feel weird because I don't have my mic or my earphones on. We were just talking about it with Karl Diffenderfer. Again, I forgot to ask you how to pronounce the last name as soon as I say it. You can see it in my side here, Karl Diffenderfer. I was actually practicing it in my car before. Karl Diffenderfer, Diffenderfer. Is that right?
You got it. You got it, sir.
So we'll be talking to Karl about how we can all leave a legacy behind us and make more impact in our life and get more out of life, yada, yada. But before we do that, I am your host, Derek Bixler, realtor and digital marketing geek right here in Central PA. I grew up on the Hill in Harrisburg, graduated from Mechanicsburg High School, go Wildcats, went up to Penn College of Technology up in Williamsport, for those of you who know what that is, and been back here ever since. Had a few sales jobs before I started selling real estate 15 glorious years ago. Please contact me if you need to buy or sell a home. We still need inventory, still a seller's market out there, but died down a little bit if you're a buyer. So a good time to get back out there. Text me, email me, throw a rock through my window, send a carrier pigeon, whatever you need to do. Reach out to me. We really need inventory, like I said. If you'd like to subscribe to our weekly email, which is behind because I need to start paying for it and I haven't bit the bullet to pay for the MailChimp, which is a good thing because we're above the limit now where we need to pay for it. But anyway, subscribe to that at supportcentralpa.com and you can get networking mixer updates and invites, episode announcements, and exclusive special offers, of which you will have one from Karl Diffenderfer. And I can't, I'm going to mess it up.
You got it.
No, later it will be up on the screen so I can reference it. But anyway, luckily your first name is very easy to say. A reminder to ask a question in the comments if you have any questions for myself or Karl, or if you just want to say hi and say where you're saying hi from in Central PA, Elizabethtown, Hummelstown, Harrisburg, Gettysburg, wherever you're watching from, let us know. And a reminder that all the replays will be on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, uploaded to Instagram. I already said Instagram. What was I going to say? Oh, soon on iTunes and all the audio players. I was telling Karl that I've got 100 or so episodes that need to be uploaded there and all the descriptions copied and pasted over. So I need to look for a VA, or if anybody is watching out there and wants to get involved and wants to learn the podcasting process, feel free to reach out to me. I would love a little podcast intern. That'd be awesome. Maybe I should put that out to the group. And now, without further ado, I will
today, my friend.
enough. And I do up it a little bit before episodes, but not much. I usually drink half calf because I know how it affects me. But anyway. And a lot of it's the nervousness too, the nervous tics and then I black out and then you listen to the episode later. It wasn't that bad, I guess. But I will shut up. Let's bring in Karl Diffenderfer of Higher Impact Business and Life Coaching. Thanks for being with us, Karl.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, awesome. And we will start with talking about your background a little bit. And like I prepped you and I prep everybody else, we'll spend a little bit of time talking about your background before we start talking about what you do. And you have some partners in your group too. I think I was looking at the website, or there's other coaches. But anyway, let's start. Yeah. So let's start with where you grew up. I saw in your bio that you grew up in Lancaster and you were homeschooled. Start with that and that experience.
Yeah. Well, actually, I went to a small private school until 6th grade, but didn't fit in so well. I enjoyed it, but I don't know. It just wasn't for me. So I ended up deciding to homeschool, and I tell people I was the top of my class and the bottom of my class all together, and they're like, "What?" And really enjoyed it. I basically taught myself how to learn. And studied algebra. My mom, I would go to her and be like, "Hey, what about this?" I don't know. And rightly so. I mean, she's not supposed to know algebra, right? And so I learned how to be a learner at an early age.
So you said you decided. So what age was this? What age did you say that you decided? And was it a conversation that you went to your parents and said, "I've had it with this private school. I want to stay home and do it myself"?
Yeah, they gave me the option. They came to me and they knew I wasn't enjoying the school that I was at so much. And so they said, "Well, do you want to homeschool?" And I thought about it. And I actually really fit in well with the homeschoolers. I know homeschoolers are considered to be, kind of geeks and they don't know how to communicate. I'm kind of the anomaly with that, although I know a lot of homeschoolers that are really good at communicating. So it's, I guess it's all in the family. So.
Yeah, totally. Probably depends how your parents are more than anything else, I would think. If even people that go to school could be introverts and very quiet. So
yes.
Yeah, totally. So had your parents done it before? Did they have experience? Where did that, like Google wasn't around, I'm assuming, really. And
Yeah, you're starting to date me. That's not good. Not
well, it
that
wasn't
old,
when
man.
I was that age either, but or maybe it was.
No,
I was in high school when AOL came out, so I don't.
yeah, so was I.
Yeah.
Born in '79, yeah, it was just. I mean, I had textbooks that I used. It was pre-internet, or at least the very beginning of dial-up. Yeah, my parents went out to the homeschool convention every year and picked out the books for me. So, it was interesting.
And do you end up being ahead of other kids when you homeschool, or do you just stay even, or when did you graduate? Did you graduate at 18 or the usual time or whatever?
Yeah, I have a PA homeschooler's degree, and interestingly enough, 6th and 7th grade are considered to be very close to each other in public school. So if I had started a year earlier, I could have skipped a grade, because most homeschoolers skip 6th or 7th grade, since it's pretty much the same teaching in public school. Didn't know that before, but now I do, and a lot of homeschoolers do it today. Still, they skip that one grade.
Huh, so. Interesting. So you could skip at least one grade. There's a plus for homeschooling. There's at least one grade you could probably skip. And you're allowed to do it as fast as you want? Like if you could pass the high school equivalent, is that what you do? You take a high school equivalency test, or what do you take? Or is it an actual diploma then?
It's an actual diploma. Yeah, it's a real diploma, but you have every year you meet with I forget what they're called now, but it's a person that reviews all your work for the year. And they say, yes, you did a great job, or no, you didn't fit the mold this year. And so they kind of pass you or don't pass you. They're accredited to do that. I forget what they call them now, but that was how I passed every year. And my senior year, I took some college courses at LBC, because they give free courses. And so I took some courses there my senior year. So it was cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then you have a little bit of college experience. Did you get credits for those actually?
Yep.
Yeah, one-on-one classes or something.
No, they were. I was sitting with college students. So yeah, they were fully accredited college courses.
So then what did you like to do back then? You were the one-man marching band? Did you have one of those things? What were your extracurriculars? What did you do?
Another interesting part of my story is that my name is still on the wall for a record at E-Town High School. And the way I accomplished that was I ran track and cross country for E-Town. They allowed homeschoolers to do that. And so my name is still on the wall for the 4x400. At least the last I heard, it was still up there. And so I was fast, not so fast anymore, but yeah, I think I ran a 5:06 was my fastest mile. So almost hit the 4 barrier. I was close. So
that's pretty darn fast. The fastest I've ever done was 5:58, which actually wasn't that long ago. Wasn't back in the day. I used to hate the long basketball whenever we had to run the mile. Shoot me now. I hate this. And then actually RSR, our company, we ran the Harrisburg mile, and I was in really good shape at the time. I was like, I'm going to see how fast I can do this. 5:58. So yeah, that's
nice.
mine. But what? 5:06? That's crazy.
Yeah.
5:06. That's like sprinting. Even 6 is like sprinting the entire thing. It's crazy.
Yeah. And my cross country 5K on grass was like 17:20 something. So that was on hills. It was tough, but yeah, I was in really, really good shape. Not so much anymore. I sit behind a desk now, but I still go out running every week. So yeah.
Good for you. Good for your knees can still take it. My knees I have stopped the basketball and the skiing, but so okay. I'm a little jealous of you that you can do that. Stem cells, right? They got stem cells coming.
There you go. Knee replacements.
Yeah. So what, after you graduated from college, and maybe you could tell us if you took a cap and gown picture and did all that stuff. And did you go to prom? Oh, hold on. Before we get to past high school, I got a couple more homeschooling questions.
Have you never met a homeschooler?
What was graduation? I have, but I never really asked him, I don't think.
Yeah.
Graduation and prom, those two things.
I didn't have prom that I remember, although I think we had some kind of like party of some kind that would have been similar to that. Graduation was like just a whole bunch of homeschoolers getting together and celebrating the graduation. I think we did a cap toss, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so it wasn't your normal graduation by any regard, but it was cool.
And you're not incorporated somehow with like the district that you live within or something like that.
No. I'm trying to think. I was also during that season, I worked on a dairy farm, so I'm a farm boy through and through. We lived on a small farm as well, so I'm kind of different than most, but I've done well. I've enjoyed what I do. So
different is good in my book, especially the farm life is especially intriguing to me. And so I like outdoor stuff and being outdoors. So that sounds fun. And Lancaster County obviously has no shortage of farmland. So were you out there like by the Amish and all that kind of stuff that people would picture?
Yeah, I mean, I lived out in the boondocks of Lancaster County. I mean, so Lancaster, even back then, was somewhat built up. It wasn't near as much as it is now. But yeah, I was telling somebody the other day, I remember getting on my rollerblades and trying to catch the back of the milk truck on the ladder as he went around the corner to see how long we could hold on as he drove up the road. And that was, we would sit on the top of hay wagons or hang on the back and, yeah, I'll never forget. This will gross you out, but I'll never forget. I was chewing gum one day, and a cow coughed, and we had just given it some medicine, and it just went right in my mouth. And so disgusting.
Anytime I ride in a horse and buggy, do you watch Seinfeld at all? Probably. Rusty, the horse Rusty. Anytime I'm in I always Rusty. No. It's farting for those people that don't know, or maybe pooping. Do they have a little basket back there so they can actually poop while they're going on the wagon or whatever?
Yeah, if you're a dairy farmer, you pretty much are guaranteed you're going to have manure on you. It's just part of the game.
Under the nails, everywhere. You can't get rid of it.
No, but like on your clothes, like it splatters. It's I shouldn't be sharing this with all these people. They're probably like, who is this guy?
So then we can move. That's a good segue. Tell us what you did after you graduated. I know it was some creative field. It wasn't exactly what you're doing now. So tell us a little bit about that and why you went into that.
Yeah. So I was working part-time on a horse farm, and I was also a worship leader at a church. And my wife, we got married when we were 20. And so about 22, my wife got pregnant with our first child. And I said, man, there is no way I am going to provide for my family doing this. So I decided to apply for a scholarship and ended up getting the scholarship for a digital arts degree, and basically graphic design with websites and video and that kind of stuff. So it's like a full encompassing degree. I held a 4.0 the whole way through college, which I didn't think I could do, but I did. And coming out of college, I took a job.
Were you married in college? Because you said you got married at 20, and that would be like halfway through, right?
So, well, I waited. I didn't go to college right away. I actually worked in construction and a whole bunch of other jobs. I was a mechanic on in a mechanic shop, and I can't remember everything I did, but I just tried a whole bunch of stuff. I was like, let's figure out what I want to do. And I like to work with my mind more than my hands. And so I started to figure out, okay, I need to do something that's more here than in working with my hands. And so we got married when I was 20, went to college when I was about 22. It was a 2-year associate's degree, graduated about 24. Took a job at LCBC I was in charge of their graphic design and web work and stuff like that. And,
I go to Grantham, BC.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I was the youth worship leader, and also I was in charge of, well, not in charge of, I did a lot of their graphics. I had a boss, but yeah, it was fun.
Nice. Yeah. We used to crush you in basketball back in the day. That's another conversation. And Mick Vick, they could go too. But, anyway.
Yeah.
So did you did that after you got out too then?
Digital arts. Digital arts, yeah.
Arts.
So I started just right into that, kept doing it. And I guess at about the age 24, I started doing freelance work for people, and it just took off. I just took off. My dad was an entrepreneur. He owned many different businesses over the years. And so I'd always worked for him. So I kind of knew how businesses worked, and started a full service marketing firm, although we started off more as like a graphic design company in about 2004. And 2006, I went full time. 2008, we hired our first employee. 2009, we were one of the emerging businesses of the year. By 2010, we had 10 employees, and it was growing very rapidly, too fast for a 28-year-old or whatever. I was in my late 20s, and learned a lot through that season. Learned a lot about people. Learned a lot about how to provide good customer service and some of the basic business principles that you need to know. And had a coach throughout that whole season. Learned a ton from having a business coach. And at the age of 32, I had the opportunity to sell that business. And so I sold it and said, okay, what am I going to do next? And should I keep going, or do you have more questions?
Oh, I'm going to follow up with you on this a little bit. So you sold that business. And before we start talking about, and you said you got coaching for that business, and that's probably what led to what you're doing now, I'm assuming, but I want to backtrack a little bit and talk about your family. And you even have a nice little slide that you might want to pop up and tell us a little bit about that. So before we talk about what you're doing now professionally, let's tell everybody a little bit about you personally and give them a little glimpse into your life and who you are as a person. Yeah, we see the Diffenderfers.
This is Diffenderfers. I should have put a newer picture up, but this is my family. They're all teenagers now. And so I have 4 beautiful children, a wife of 21 years, and they are now 19, 16, 15, 13. And yeah, so we have a busy house. It was really busy when they were younger. I had 4 under 6 at one point. That was a little crazy trying to go to the grocery store and stuff. But and my wife, she worked right by my side through all those years of starting a business. I'll never forget our first year in business. Our furnace went out. I think I made $20,000 that year. And that year, that included the business expenses. So I made nothing. And we had a mortgage. We had 2 kids. And the furnace went out. I'll never forget. I get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and feed the wood stove to try to keep the house warm. And my kids would come downstairs and be like, "Daddy, I'm cold," and just crushed me. So that was my motivator to get the business going and make it happen.
Yeah, and so 4 under 6. I have twin 3-year-olds and a 7-year-old, so I'm similar with 3 under. So I mean 4. I don't. More power to you. And you had the first at 20. I didn't have the first till 36 or something like that.
22. So, I'm married at
22.
22, but yeah, close.
Yeah. Crazy. I couldn't even imagine. I could barely take care of myself back then. You obviously probably took care of yourself better than I. So that's nice to know. And you got a beautiful family there. What kind of car do you have? Some big, you got a minivan or a Tahoe or a Suburban or something, right?
A Suburban, yeah. I mean, well, 2 of them are driving now. So we have more cars in our driveway than we need. But, it's this person's going here, this person's going here. And it's yeah, I don't have to do a whole lot of driving to events anymore, which is really nice. I just get one of the kids to do it. So that's good.
Yeah, you don't have to be the chauffeur anymore. Do they get paid for chauffeuring, or that's part of the getting to have a car luxury?
Part of getting to have a car. Dad pays for it. They get gas and they get to go where they need to go. So
yeah. I've even heard in affluent areas or there's a trend where they just want a black Uber card, which is like the luxury Uber where you get like a Cadillac or something, but they just want that, so they don't even want to drive. They just want to ride around in the back on their phone whenever they want to with a black Uber card or whatever it is.
We're a pretty practical family, so that's not us. But
yeah, I don't know if it would be cheaper or more expensive. Or I mean, I don't think I would like it, but I suppose.
I will say insurance. Insurance is great.
Totally.
Yeah.
And now we're going to talk about your business a little bit, but we do have a few here, and we'll see if you know any of these people. Victory Mindset, hi from Carlisle. Hello, Deborah Mawson, hi from Carlisle. And Deborah and me too, whatever we were talking about there. And evaluator, I'm not sure what she meant by that, but thanks for commenting, Deborah. And now we'll go back to it if I can find my little tickers here. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing right now. unless you have another slide, I'll bring this down. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing now, a little overview of the company, and then we'll talk about some specifics that you have for us and a couple of topics that I have to talk about a little bit. So an overview for us, quick.
Yeah, well, and actually, maybe the 5 important things to know about me, that slide would be helpful because that kind of encompasses what I was able to accomplish during my early years of business. So I sold my award-winning business at age 32, grew a customer base 0 to 1,000 through personal efforts, starting from scratch, acquiring competitors. I bought companies, and we generated over $100 million in revenue for our customers through the marketing and business processes that we put in place. And I've built residual income streams through businesses that require less than 5 hours a month. I've doubled business revenue through several economic downturns, if you count COVID as one of those, which I guess we're not there yet, but a lot of businesses have really hurt through COVID. And I've helped grow and scale thousands of businesses worldwide. So a little bit about me. At 32, I was starting to I was on this journey of realizing that I loved marketing, and I was doing a ton of marketing consulting. But what I was doing was I was basically working myself out of a job. So I'd go into these companies, big companies, and I'd help them improve their marketing and get a bunch of business for them. And what would happen is they'd fire me. They'd let me go because I was getting them too much business. And I was like, well, I don't want to do crappy work, but I don't want to keep on losing all these clients and have attrition. And so I started to help them. I started to do consulting with them on fixing some of the problems that was keeping them from being able to manage all the growth that I was giving them. And through all my years in studying underneath other coaches and reading a lot, I read constantly. I came to realized that I could help them even in bigger ways than just marketing. And so at 32, when I had the opportunity to sell, I decided to become a coach/consultant. And so I function in that realm now. I've been doing it almost 10 years now.
So what was the first offering you put out as a coach or a consultant? Was it just general coaching and consulting, or was it business, or was it tailored? Was there a specific program or something?
Yeah. So I started just by coaching small business owners at a really reasonable price point. I wanted to get my reps in. I wanted to learn. And I figured, well, I might as well not work with the big companies until I've really learned as much as I need to. And so over the years now, I've developed much larger clients. But in the beginning, I just kind of focused on the small guy.
And it was kind of a all-encompassing, general, comprehensive consulting on running the business, how to build it. Did you start with startups, or were they mostly businesses that were already established?
You know, it's interesting. One of the things that creates a good client for coaching is that they need to understand that, or they need to be at the spot where they've realized that they can't do it on their own. And so startups actually tend to, not always, but they tend to have this concept that I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to white knuckle it. I'm going to make it happen. I did it too. So I get it. And so what needs to happen is they need to go through a couple of phases of getting beat down before they're like, okay, I might need some help with this. And so in my studies, I've studied every aspect of business, every angle you can think of. And I have been coached by some of the top coaches around the world. And so now I'm able to go into a business and help them take the blinders off. I mean, we all kind of are in our own way. And sometimes it's the business owner that's the problem. Other times it's a process, or it could be a myriad of different things. And so I help them identify the problem and then fix the problem.
And so at first you said you were working yourself out of a job. So was it a one-time meeting? Did you do like a 6 month, once a month, you meet with somebody to get them going, or what did it look like at that point?
Yeah, it was typically a monthly retainer, although some people wanted to just buy a chunk of coaching time. And so I would meet with them consistently until they used up their time. I eventually then moved to just to a model where it's a monthly retainer. And there's a whole slew of things that I've built. I've written curriculum. We have our coaches toolkit, and it's full of, I don't know if you can see how thick it is here, but it's hundreds of pages of business principles and concepts and curriculum and worksheets and all the things that you might need to be more effective in your business.
Just want to pop this up real quick. We got a comment here. I'm really enjoying Karl's presentation and thinking style. Brilliant. Thank you for commenting with that. On LinkedIn, I told you, or no, that was Facebook. I'm eating my words. Never mind. I told Karl that LinkedIn is a lot of times one of the best platforms for people watching. But so you went from the general consulting, kind of doing the whole picture. Now it's kind of, I was looking on your website, you've got it broken out into kind of little niche consulting and coaching businesses. So how did it evolve and what does it look like now? What do you offer now?
Yeah. So, well, I have 10 coaches on my team. They've all joined the team. So I'm a coach of coaches as well. And we have 3 different levels of coaches. So we have a coach, a senior coach, and a master coach. I'm at the master coach level. I do about, depending on the year, I do about 500 coaching sessions a year, which is a decent amount. And I coach 2 days a week. I've found that if I do more than that, I burn out. And so the majority of my coaches do that as well. We have other things that we do. We're just kind of the mindset of give, give, give. I tell people, take advantage of me. I will give you free coaching and prove to you the value of what I do. And then you're going to want to hire me because our customized education actually pays for itself. So I end up most of the times, 99% of the time, I pay for myself in my coaching.
And all these systems, the book and all the stuff and all the 3 levels of the coaches, that's all developed by you, or is this some system that you went and learned and got certified in? This is all you.
Build it from scratch. Yep. I've been working hard over the last 10 years. Now the coaches have helped with that some, but really I've kind of been the mastermind behind putting it all together. So yeah. And just through coaching, I've realized I've seen all the weak areas that business owners have. And so I'm able to, like a business owner will say, they'll say something and I'll be like, okay, well, that's because of this when you say, and they're like, oh yeah, duh, you're right. And it's because I've been through it 500 times with other people. So
can you list a few of those weak areas, typical weak areas that businesses suffer from?
Yeah. So a lot of times business owners get stuck in the weeds, or I kind of use the analogy that they're in the trenches of their business. They're working in their business, not on their business. And so I help them get up to the high vantage point to look over the battlefield of their business and figure out what's actually going on. And from there, I help them create greater vision and clarity. I help them dream. A lot of business owners lose their ability to dream because they're just so beat down and so run ragged from everything they do. And so I kind of create a retreat for them. Like they look forward to their coaching because it's their time to work on them and to figure out, okay, what's next? And so we kind of pull them up into that bird's eye view and look around and see what's going on. The clarity and vision and purpose. We help them grow from a financial standpoint. Some companies are trying to find profitability. Sometimes they need more sales. Sometimes it's actually related to maybe their efficiencies of the team, or production is just not where it should be. Sometimes people just aren't getting along. And so they have maybe partner problems, or they're trying to bring their kids up into the business and they're not getting along with their kids, or employees aren't getting along. I've fixed employee problems, 40-year-old, like an employee that was with the company for 40 years. I fixed it in 2 coaching sessions once. So there's just so many different things. I mean, there's so much that we can run into in our business, right? Just so much that can hold us back. And
I love what you were saying about clarity, vision, and purpose. And one of the things that I wrote down that I wanted to talk about was your why. And you've got it all over your website, and it's in the copy and the description. And you hear that buzzword all the time. What's your why? What's your why? But everybody hears it because it's very important. And like you said, people get in the weeds and they forget. Like, I'm a real estate agent and I forget why I got in the business. Pretend like it's your first day before you started and how excited you were and why you wanted to start that business. Why I get to walk through any house I want and I get to put my name on a sign and I don't have a boss. I mean, the boss list thing is a fallacy, but we do have autonomy and freedom. And so you get in the weeds and you get stressed out in the job and you forget why you're doing it in the first place. So I would like to step back a little bit and unpack the why part, because I know it's important to you. And you mentioned it here with the clarity, vision, and purpose. So why do you think that's important? And just go into that a little bit.
Yeah. So now I'm a believer that, and I just posted this on Facebook a couple of weeks ago. I'm a believer that everybody needs a coach. Will everybody benefit from a coach? Maybe not. Going back to what I was alluding to earlier, if people aren't willing to acknowledge their need for a coach, you can't help them. And so I oftentimes will ask people, are you coachable? And then I try to test them throughout our conversation to say, okay, are they coachable or not? And so some people will say, yeah, I'm coachable. Yeah, I'm coachable. But when you really get down to it and you say something that they don't like, they're like, oh, and they kind of, they turn their nose up at you or whatever whatever you want to say. And so you can't really help them. And my dad, when I was a kid, he owned a consulting company. It's interesting that I do that now. And I'll never forget, he came home one day and he was like, he was telling me about a problem in an organization. And he was telling me how, the business owner couldn't stand the employee and the employee was driving him nuts. And the employee was like, the business owner's the problem. And so there was this tug and pull of who was the problem. And Dad said to me, he said, son, any business, any problem always traces to the top. And I remember sitting there thinking, well, that's an odd thing to say. How can you blame the business owner if the employee is not, doing what they're supposed to do? And he's right. At the end of the day, all of our problems come back to us. And so are we going to deal with it? Are we going to tackle it head on? Are we going to try to have a reason why that problem is here? An excuse, but it's not an excuse. It's a reason. So in any case, I'm sorry, I'm getting off on a tangent here, but this is fun. I love talking about this kind of stuff. But so a couple of years ago, a guy came to me and he said, hey, Karl, what's your vision for your company? And this is maybe 5 or 6 years ago. So I'm halfway into my coaching career. And I said, I don't know. Now, that was hard to acknowledge as a coach. And by the way, if you ever meet somebody that's not coachable, or you ever meet a coach that doesn't have a coach, don't hire them. They need to have a coach. It's very important. And so I spent some time talking with my coach, and I realized that I wasn't dreaming anymore. When we're in our 20s, we get these huge dreams of, I'm going to do this, I'm going to conquer the world, whatever it is that we're going to do. And as time goes by, as we have children and get married and all those things, hopefully in the opposite order, but if it can be whatever you want, we lose that dream. And then that dream impacts our ability to have vision. And that vision then affects our clarity to have goals and behaviors and things that drive us, our why. And so I always tell people, are you dreaming? Are you dreaming big? Do you believe and have hope that you can do something bigger? So hopefully that answers your question.
So you're helping people identify that why, and then do you have exercises for people to do on an ongoing basis, morning routines, writing them down, any of that kind of stuff? Or how do you, I guess the question is, once you identify what that dream, what that why is, and maybe there are multiple whys, there doesn't have to be only one why either, probably. But once you identify that why, how do you make it sink in? How do you make sure you remember it every day? How do I make sure it's always on my mind and pushing me forward?
Yeah. So a lot of people, they dive into coaching and they're so excited. They're like, oh, this is going to be amazing. I'm going to rock my world. And what they don't realize is that all of the bad behaviors they've picked up over time have slowly crept in. And so it's not that it's going to poof, immediately be gone. It's actually a process to get it going. And that's why I meet with the majority of my clients almost weekly, or a lot of them are weekly. And so each week we sit down and say, okay, how did all this go? And I have a dashboard that I create with them that's specific to them of all the behaviors and goals and actions and everything they need to do. And each week we look at it and say, okay, how are you doing? My clients get homework. I assign homework to them every week, or they assign homework to themselves more often than not. And so what it does is it actually creates accountability. And what I'm after is 1% growth. If we do 1% growth over and over and over and over, eventually we hit that goal. And a lot of people miss that. They think it's about this huge, like, giant leap forward. And sometimes you have those, but they're not sustainable. So, yeah.
I like that you said that. You brought up the 1% growth, and another thing that I'd written down, which is again all over your website and in my copy and everything, is small behaviors consistently. So everybody, you get that kind of the why and what your dream is, and maybe not the why, but the end result. I want to own a company of X dollars or whatever, but you're not sure what I should be doing every day. That's great, but how do I actually get there, and how do I make that attainable on a daily basis? So unpack that a little bit. How can people break it down from the big thing down to the little things that they can do every day?
Yeah, so I tell people to engineer it backwards. It's kind of like you're going on a trip and you want to go to Los Angeles. And instead of actually starting where you are now and planning out the trip to Los Angeles, I tell people to go to Los Angeles and plan it backwards. And I don't know why I picked Los Angeles, but pick anywhere. And so the thought is okay, I know this is where I want to get to, going back to the vision and clarity of the goals. Okay, well, what would be the steps logically backwards that will actually create the effect of what I want? You got to chunk it down. It's got to be bite-sized pieces. And then you have to have a motivator to go with it. It has to have some kind of maybe a reward or even a fear factor with of this is going to drive me to this. And then the accountability that comes from us coaches. You are 96% more likely to achieve a goal if you are meeting with somebody on a consistent basis that's going to hold you accountable to that. 96%. It's huge. And so that's why I say I pay for myself, because some clients will say, well, I want to take a month-long vacation. I need more time. I want to make 6 digits, whatever it is that they're after. I do that for them, and then I pay for myself. So, yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes that's all it takes is some accountability and somebody looking over your shoulder and speaking it into existence and forcing you to take a little bit of time out of your month or your week or whatever and focus on it and write it down and develop good practices. And it just kind of takes somebody to facilitate that whole process. What do you think what's the difference between a coach, a consultant, a therapist, all these different terms that get thrown around, and we're saying coach here? Is that what we're talking about? Is it the same as a consultant? Go into that a little bit.
Good question. So, a consultant, I like to say, well, let's start with a counselor or a therapist first. A therapist is helping you fix problems from the past. I don't spend time on people's past. At least I try not to. Sometimes we have to go there. But my goal is the future. Where are we going in the future? And so, some people actually like coaching better than going to therapy, because it's like, well, maybe they're avoiding it. I don't know, their past. Sometimes probably not. But, they're focused on, okay, where am I going? And that creates excitement for them. And then, from that, the consultant versus coach. I tell people I have 2 different hats that I wear. Sometimes you get stuck and you don't know what you don't know. And so I have to help tell you, but more often than not, if I ask you how to fix a problem in your life, or in your business, you're going to say, well, I'm going to fix it this way. So you already know the answer. You just need somebody to ask you the right questions to unpack that answer. And I actually have a slide here. I don't know if you can pull it up, but in coaching, I've found that moments of pause create space for reflection, and that leads to awareness. And so that's your state of being. And you're not doing anything at that point. You're just being. And it's so important. Coaching does this for people. We slow you down enough to say, okay, what's really going on? From that, we can create intentionality and action that is a better plan than what you had before. What do they say? Insanity is doing the same thing, expecting different results. Kind of that same concept there. And then we create momentum through the accountability. And so every coaching session, I'm funneling through this cycle with my clients to make sure that we're hitting all of these key areas. Now, inside of there, you might find a need for knowledge, an increase of knowledge. And usually that's between awareness and intentionality. You have to go study something to learn more about it. It's actually a great step to have. So as a consultant, what I do is I will then begin to help them expand that knowledge through my experience and say, okay, well, have you tried this? I saw this business owner do this in this industry. Have you tried that? And so I'm putting on my consulting hat, taking off my coaching hat, and giving them ideas, not especially advice. I try not to give advice because what I've learned is if I give advice and it fails, you're going to tell me that it was my fault. Whereas if you uncover it for yourself and you say, this is what I'm going to do, and it doesn't work, well, it's no longer Coach Karl's fault.
Well, plus it's good. And another thing that I wrote down was failing forward. So I always tell my kids when they fall down and hurt themselves, that just means you're getting better. If you're not falling down and messing up, you're not pushing yourself past your limit. So let's talk about failing forward a little bit. If you give somebody an idea and it fails, what do you say to that person? Or if they come up with the idea themselves and it fails?
I tell that to people a lot, and it depends on your personality. I do a lot of different personality assessments with my clients. And so your personality affects your ability to deal with risk. And so some people, my ability to deal with risk, I'm a 9 out of 10. So I'm like crazy, love to dive into the risk. I have to slow myself down and actually manage my risk. You're probably the same way, just based on how I've gotten to know you so far. But then some people are more about mitigating risk and almost even getting rid of risk. And so then I have to help them face that fear of that risk and help them make decisions faster. And I'll never forget, I had a client that said, Karl, the biggest thing I took out of coaching was just that I need to make better decisions faster. Because he was stuck in this mind trap of just analysis paralysis with his decisions. So everybody's different.
That goes into the employee thing too. If you got a bad employee, it's not either you didn't teach them right, or if you're doing all the right things perfectly and the employee is still not performing, it's still your responsibility to get rid of that person and hire slow and fire fast, kind of, so to speak, like they say.
Exactly.
So tell us about how the life legacy statement works into all of this. Is that something you have? I saw it on your website. That's why I'm asking about it. Is that something you have all your clients do? Is that something we should all have? Tell us a little bit about the life legacy statement.
It's such a neat exercise. What it is it's kind of like Johari window. I don't know if you ever heard of Johari window, but it's using words to describe yourself. And those words, then you build them into a statement. So I have a whole bunch of different word banks and you select words from it. It's not rocket science, by the way. None of this stuff. I mean, everybody's invented it once before. So I'm not Einstein or anything like that. But I am really good with people. You're
not Bach, but you might be Usher.
So, with that life legacy statement, then what it does is it really kind of puts you at the end of your life and allows you to look back and say, what things, if I left undone, would I be unhappy that I left this undone, that I didn't do this? Some people could call it a bucket list, but I even take it a step further to say that it's your purpose. Like, you were put on this planet for a reason. There's something that you are bringing to the world around you, bringing to humanity, that is going to make it a better place. And it's not just your work. Your work is great, but your work is there to help you provide for your family. But it's not your purpose. And so this exercise really helps them kind of define their purpose. And then with that, their legacy. Your legacy is what I say is how long people remember you after you die. Think about people that you remember the legacy they left even now. Well, they had such a profound impact that it's lasted the test of time beyond them being on this planet. And so that's really important, very important. And it's a great exercise. I walk through it. A couple of weeks, I'm going to be walking a group through it. If anybody's interested in going through it, please reach out. I'd be happy to walk you through it.
Yeah, that'd be all. I might like to do that. I kind of do it maybe kind of the same thing. I always think about, like, what do I want people to say to me or about me when I die? If I walked into the back of my funeral and I'm listening to what people are saying about me, hopefully they're good things. First of all, they shouldn't come to my funeral if they're going to badmouth me. But I'm sure there's a few out there. But what would they be saying? I want them to say, great dad, adventurous, risk taker, any of those things that they want you to say. That's what maybe should be on that life statement. If I'm hearing you correctly?
It even goes deeper. So it's more about who you are. So if I were to ask you, and I'm not going to start coaching here, but a lot of people, if you ask them who they are, they'll tell you what they do. And that really has nothing to do with it. So if I say, who are you? And you say, oh, I'm a real estate agent. Sure you are, but that's what you do. So when I ask you who you are, then it's more like I'm going to try to come up with something here quick that would be relevant to me. I am a person that loves to inspire other people and help them go to the next level in their life and their business in such a way that they're empowered to make a difference in the world around them. Wow. Okay. Now that starts to hit you between the eyes. And I can do that in coaching. I can do that with my kids. I can do that anywhere. So my role doesn't affect it then. I'm still doing it no matter where I am.
So was that your purpose that you just stated there, or I would be remiss if I didn't ask you if you can share somewhat of your mission, your life mission statement, your legacy
statement. I have
statement.
it back here. I don't have it memorized, but that's very close. Yes. That was my ad lib version. So yeah.
And do you help people? Do you give them examples or not? Because examples might then lead them or give them ideas of what theirs should be, or some. Is it designed in a way where they're not led to anything?
No, it's not designed in a way that they're led to anything. And I'm really careful with that because it's important for it to be true to them. What I do tell them, though, is to test it. So a year from now, come back and look at it and say, okay, is this still true? Has it changed? Have I learned something that I didn't know before that would apply now? Sometimes we go through experiences like maybe we have something really hard and painful where we lose a loved one to COVID or, something horrible like that, but it actually shapes us. And now we can say, well, yeah, my life purpose is shifting a little bit because I went through that. And that's okay. That's all part of it.
So you do recommend, and it's commonplace to revisit your life legacy statement, your life mission statement, your goals, all that stuff. Because
I have my goals. I look at them nearly every day, and I say, okay, well, how am I doing on each of these things? And I have people holding me accountable to that. I have a coach that coaches me, and then I help coach other people. We look at their goals all the time and say, okay, how are you doing? Is it still true? Are you still wanting to do this? And
maybe it's a bad sign if everything stays the same. If you go 3 years and you look at it and everything's still the same, well, then you haven't progressed past those being your goals. And I mean, some of those things should be changing over time, I would think.
Yeah. And what I tell people is goals really are more of a checkpoint than they are anything else. I view behaviors as what you actually need to set up as doing. So, for example, behavior is something I'm going to do this repetitiously over and over and over to achieve this result. Okay, well, if I do that over and over and over, will it achieve that result? Well, I won't know until I try. Okay, I'm going to try. Okay, well, okay, it does do that. Great. Now I know. All right, well, I can stick with it. Like running, for example. You can't just run once and expect to lose 25 pounds. But if you run 3 miles a day consistently or whatever, you run an extended period of time, eventually that's going to start to move you towards your goal. And then you might say, well, okay, this doesn't seem to be quite enough. I need more progressive results. Okay, well, I'm going to run more because I know that's going to achieve that. So goals are important. Behaviors are much more important.
So tell us a little bit about all the different services that you do offer. Obviously, you said you have 10 coaches on staff, and then there are a bunch of drop-down menus on your website. So people can niche down. Tell us a little bit about all the products and services that you offer.
Yeah. So as a coaching company, our goal is to help you figure out what it is that's keeping you from being the best version of who you are and your business. Me as a coach, I focus on business. And so I'm working with business owners from all over the country. And what we do is we try to help them build their company into a machine that runs itself. And so I help them actually take that month off. I help them get 40% of their time back. I can show somebody $100,000 of hidden profit in less than an hour. I have these key things that I can do that I've just picked up over the years. So I tell people I help them with their time, their team, and their money. Time, 40%. Team, I help your team work as hard as you want them to and as efficient as you need them to. And then on the money side, well, I show them $100,000 hidden profit. And people like that. And that's why I tell people, take advantage of me. Like, get some free coaching from me because it'll knock your socks off. And whether or not you decide to hire me as a coach, that's fine. I don't care. I have plenty of clients and I'm here to help. And my other coaches, we have, like I said, we'd have the different tiers. So maybe you're like, well, I don't want to pay Karl's rate, but I'd like to work with one of the regular coaches or the senior coaches. And so we have the different packages to help everybody. We also have something called the Business Leader Network. Business Leader Network is a free area for people to just connect and connect with trusted advisors, the coaches, referral partners are on there. And it's a place for you to socialize. It's like a private Facebook. It has a mobile app to go with it, businessleader.network. I'd invite you to join. All of our events are up there, and you're going to see a smattering of new events coming up here very soon. We're getting ready to release some new ones. I'm trying to think. So coaching one-on-one, team training, corporate training, like strategic planning, that kind of stuff. Personality assessments, DISC, Colby, you name it, Myers-Briggs, we can do.
Oh yeah, all. I wrote that down. Do you do DISC assessments with everybody or other assessments?
Yeah, I'm DISC certified, and yes, I do it all the time. It's very important. Some people don't like it. I tell them, well, don't let it pigeonhole you. If you feel like it's not 100% you, that's okay. It just helps me get to know you a little bit better. And
do you have an online version people can access for free, or should they go to TonyRobbins.com or wherever everybody directs everyone?
I do have a free version. I have to send them the link though. But yes, if you'd like to take the free version, I'd be happy to. It's actually not free for me, but I'd be happy to pay for it and let you get the results.
That's cool. Well, I don't know that you need to throw something else in there because we're going to have another little free offer for everybody. But before that, we're at 51 minutes, so we do have to close it out. But we're going to do our funny question that has nothing to do with anybody. And another new thing here, without my mic and my headphones, I'm also doing a new list of funny questions. So I have zero idea of how these questions are going to be. I literally just Google funny questions, and the list I picked has 350 funny questions on it. So you can pick a number between 1 and 350, and we'll see if it's the other list was getting kind of stale and weren't that good, so I figured we'd switch it up. So
27.
Staying low. All right. Where do you get most of the decorations for your home? Sometimes they don't word these correctly. Where do you get most of the decorations for your home?
Wow.
That's a dumb one.
So my dad was an auctioneer growing up. And so a lot of my furnishings are antiques. And so I really enjoy going out to antique malls and places like that and finding old furniture. So, yeah.
That was a cooler answer than I was expecting with the kind of
glassware too. When I was a kid, my grandparents would buy pieces of glass for us for Christmas. And I know, like, you're 5 years old and you get a piece of glassware, you're like, what the world? Like, so some of the stuff you see behind me actually was gifts from them when I was a little kid. And now I've come back to really appreciate it. So, yeah. That's
cool. I like that. It's better than saying Marshalls or Home Goods or something like that. Something one of a kind and maybe made out of like real wood and stuff like that. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
All right. Tell everybody where they can find you. I'm going to put the information up, but read it aloud for that day when I get it on iTunes and all the audio players for people just listening.
Yeah. So higherimpact.me.com wasn't available. If you know who owns it, I'd love to buy it from them, but higherimpact.me. And my email address is Karl with a K. If you do see, I'll still get it, but Karl with a K at higherimpact.me. My mobile is 717-689-4227. Text me, email me, call me, challenge me, test me. I'm a giver, so please. And so are the rest of the coaches on my team. If I'm tied up in a meeting, I may say, hey, call Doug or call Randy. And these guys are seasoned. They're really good coaches. And so we're here to help you. Please take advantage of us.
And they can take advantage of testing you with the special offer you're going to put out there for everybody. So tell them a little bit about that.
Yeah. So we just created something called a business performance review. And it is a series of questions that allows you to identify rate yourself on how you're doing in different key areas in your business. And there's two areas. There's a section that's focused on your business and the categories that would most often fall into a business, like marketing and production. And I'm trying to think sales and all the financials, all those types of things. And then there's the personal assessment too. And that looks at how you're doing as a business owner. What are you missing? And so we have it up on our website. We don't actually have it live on our website yet. Well, it's live, but it's not linked yet. But if you'd like the link, I'd be happy to share it to you. And I think you're going to as well put it up on the website so they can take a stab at it. So please take it.
Yep.
There's a ton of free resources included in it. I want you to take advantage of it and get an assessment of how you're doing in your business.
And this could be for any business.
Any business. It's free.
HVAC, tree trimming, real estate agent, insurance. What about a creative type, an artist, or anything out there? Yeah.
It's very top level. I have a 150-point question that is beneath that if you really want to deep dive, we can take you through that. And on there, when you take it, at the end, you can actually schedule a free consult to go through the deep dive if you'd like to. Yes,
that's awesome. Sweet. So, oh yeah, and to launch and startups, and really that's when you should start with getting it all your ducks in a row at the beginning, so you don't have to do all the work and then go back and do the work again. Yeah, that's a great idea. And you're gonna send me. Carl's gonna send me the link, and I will go back later and change the description that everybody's seeing. Well, by the time you're watching this later, it will be in that description. I'll put the link in there so everybody can get it. And as soon as I pay for the emails and start sending that out again, hopefully next week, it'll be included also in our special offers section there for about 30 days. I leave it in there. And I'm going to leave up Carl's. I have your contact information. So I'm going to leave it up there as we go out. Thanks for being with us again, Karl. If anybody is interested in a business spotlight package, which typically consists of Greg coming to your business, showing how the sausage is made behind the scenes, so to speak. You saw him at the Ninja Warrior place where he tried to do the warp. Well, he did do the warped wall. The middle one, actually. There's a small one, a middle one, and the high one. I think he did the middle one. I got the top one. I'll just add that in there. But you saw him trying that. If you want to have him out showing behind the scenes at your business, and then an interview here, like you're saying, with me and Karl, and then a networking mixer at your business, if your business permits, if you have an office or a retail space or somewhere you can have people gather, we can have a networking mixer as well. I know we are booked out. If you want the proper business spotlight package with all three, we're booked out for a while. But if you want to do an episode with me, hit me up, and I'm always down to do an episode. If you want to get all our special offers, like I mentioned already, hit up supportcentralpa.com and sign up for our weekly email list. Join us on Facebook. If you're watching this on LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, or listening on iTunes or anywhere else later, once we upload those, please head over to Facebook and join our group, Central PA Support Small Business. Lots and lots and lots of good stuff happening in there. Great place to, if you need a plumber, best plumber near me, you'll get all the best plumbers or whatever you need, even if it's something obscure. I need to move this shed from this side of my yard to this side of my yard. Who can do that? You'll even get great stuff for that. And if you're a business, you can get business there. So great place to be. Please head over there and join it. Contact me if you're buying or selling a home. Like I said, we need inventory, and it has also died down slightly for buyers. So if you were taking it easy as a buyer, you could get back out there and start looking. You can text me, email me, throw a rock through my window, send a carrier pigeon, however you need to do it. Please reach out to me. And before we go out, I see a few more comments. New business. Yes. They asked if you do new business. Yes. Thanks. Deborah, she must have been watching the whole episode. Thanks. Appreciate what you have to say. This is awesome. Thank you, Deborah, for watching. We really appreciate it. And now we will close it out. Everybody, please remember to support Central PA small businesses like Karl and Higher Impact Consulting Firm. Thanks for watching and listening. And we'll see everybody. I'll see everybody Thursday. See you next time. Say goodbye, Karl.
Hey, everybody. See ya.
See ya.